Western Pastoral Company and RM Williams making our stockmen and women look so sensational. It is wonderful to welcome Murray Wilkinson out here to centre stage with his working dogs, bringing the beautiful Hereford cattle down here to the Spotless Stadium to present our final of the World Series Campdraft. And Lindsay Douglas, I don't know about you, but I am very excited for what we're going to see here tonight.
16 of the finest camp drafters from across Australia. They've all needed to qualify at the highest levels in order to get an invitation to be here at Sydney Royal Easter Show. Well, tonight the scores are incredibly tight. We've had 5 rounds of camp drafting, and you will not believe some of the scores that we've had through here in the past 5 nights. Tonight, it's where it all comes down to the wire. They'll be competing for a series of very prestigious trophies, not least of which their Objective Station annual trophies, including His Royal Highness the Duke of Gloucester Cup Perpetual Trophy, the TB McFarlane Perpetual Trophy, and the Tyrrell's Wine Perpetual Trophy.
His Royal Highness the Duke of Gloucester Perpetual Cup has been running here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show and around Australia for many years, since 1947. And as we look back through the winners from years gone by, we can go back and see the likes of Robert Palmer, Bob as he was known to a lot of his friends, who won it countless times at the old showground. We move here to the new showground in 1998. It was Terry Hall who won it. And of course, for the last 3 years, it has been that amazing horse, Chevron Ivory and Nigel Cable. And Lindsay, I heard a little story today about Nigel. I was down in the members' stand and I ran into Nigel's wife. And she said, Tim, when you're talking about the camp draft tonight, can you say the only reason Nigel goes so well is because I work his horse and the kids work his horse and he only rides it on the weekends here at the competitions.
Oh, so Nigel's been seagulling, just taking all the credit on a weekend.
Well, I don't know whether they were setting me up to look like the fool or whether they were genuine. But it is just an amazing event that we are going to see here this evening. This is the pinnacle of 5 days leading into it. We are in round number 6 here tonight. And boy, has it been exciting as our competitors start to warm up out here. The cattle are being familiarised with the main arena. And it is an amazing sensation that we have seen. And we've got 2 judges here this evening who will be judging.
We do. We've got a 3-time judge here at Sydney Royal Easter Show. Fred Patterson comes to us from Gloucester. He judges camp drafting and Australian stock horses all over the country. He's judged this year by Keith Horrigan from Walker, the 35-year-old who tells us that it is such an honour to be asked to judge this prestigious event. And he told us he was really looking forward to judging in front of a loud and large audience. So that's right, ladies and gentlemen, we want you to make some noise this evening. This is the final. This is where all the numbers start to really count, because tonight we will know our overall winner. Well, you can see our competitors out there, signified by their gorgeous blue RM Williams shirts. And if you're thinking you wouldn't mind looking as good as they do, we do actually have RM Williams on site here. You can see the little setup just underneath the Spotless Stadium big screen there. And of course, Tyrrell's Wine. Go and get one now before we get started this evening. Go and grab a lovely glass of red, perhaps a white, maybe a sparkling.
Yeah, it's beautiful, of course. Since 1858, Australian-owned and run Tyrrell's Wine. They have been with camp drafting here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show for many, many years. Now, if you've never seen camp drafting before, we actually have an individual round tonight. So although we've got 5 nights previous, you can have come in here tonight and in a moment we will talk you through how it all happens. But it is going to be a very exciting event. And as we said, the best of the best going head to head here in the Spotless Stadium. And it is electrifying. It is nerve-wracking. It is goosebump worthy. And we are going to see the best horsemen and women that you have ever seen in the country. Well, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, before we get underway with the final of the World Series Campdraft here this evening, could you please stand for the national anthem? And performing the national anthem this evening, it is proud to welcome in our RM Williams vehicle down there in centre stage, Mr. Donovan Cleary.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, and let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, we are set to get underway with the World Series Campdraft, and we go down to our man on the ground, Mr. Jim Callanan, and he is with one of our judges.
Okay, thank you very much, Tim. And with one of our Campdraft judges here, Mr. Keith Hurrigan from Walker. Keith, first time you judged at the Royal Easter Show for the World Championship Campdraft, and what's the feeling?
Yes, thank you very much, Jim. Yeah, it is my first time here to judge, and my first time that my wife and I have even been to a Sydney show. So it's a wonderful experience. We're here to judge the best camp drafters you're going to see in Australia for the World Championship. And yeah, I'm really honoured to be here, Jim. It's a wonderful experience.
The camp drafting's been absolutely first class. Magnificent lot of horses, magnificent cattle. The competitors have been right on the job.
They certainly have, and they won't disappoint tonight. It's the big stage here, and they will perform to their best.
Okay, well, thanks very much for your time, Keith, and all the best for the final round. It comes down, it's D-Day.
It is. Thank you very much, Jim, and thank you to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. So there's the other one of our camp draft judges, Keith Hurrigan, and our other camp draft judge has been Mr. Fred Patterson from Gloucester.
Right-hand course we see here tonight, Jim Callanan. We see our competitors. There are 3 pegs out in the arena. We have our camp down here. So the competitors will come into the yard. They'll get a score for cutout out of 26. They'll get a score for horsemanship for 70 on the course. They'll get 4 for all of the pegs completed to give us a score out of 100. And our first competitor, Lindsay Douglas, is in the camp.
Well, this combination first came here back in 2011. It's a horse called Heatwave, ridden by Paul Carlin. Well, Paul is a farmer and a grazier from a lovely place called Rock Forest, in between Bathurst and Orange in the central west of New South Wales. He runs a place called Mares Forest Performance Horses, and this combination have won and placed at many camp drafts, including Warwick, Paradise Lagoons, the Landmark Classic in Tamworth, the Champion of Champions. And this horse, Heatwave, well, progeny, now selling at the Landmark Classic for anywhere between $20,000 and $25,000. So certainly some performance expected out of that lineage.
Thank you, Lindsay, and Paul Carlin is about to make his selection. The final of the World Championship Camp Draft brought to you with the compliments of Tyrrell's. So he just gets the nod from our 2 Camp Draft judges, and a wonderful line of the Hereford steers for the final. And once again, many thanks to Elliston Pastoral Company, to the Packer family, to the manager up there, Rob Teague, and Scott Mitchell and the team, and Rob Teague and Scott Mitchell join us down here on the Spotless Stadium here for the final round. as Paul Carlin and Heatwave, they call for the gate, they step out onto centre stage here in the Spotless Stadium. It's a right-hand course tonight, so you get 2 points for the first peg, and things in heat for Heatwave are travelling very nicely here at the moment. They come around the first peg, they've got 2 out of 4 for the course. They do the changeover. Heatwave says, leave the footwork to me. You just press the buttons, they come around. This camp drafting at its best. Right around here now on the beast's shoulder, comes around, gets 3 out of 4 for the course. Now, can they do it? Can they line it up? Can they get 4 out of 4? Heatwave, Paul Carlin, it's looking good. It's looking very, very good. Give him a lovely round of applause. The final of the World Championship Camp Draft.
What a way to kick off the final here tonight in the Spotless Stadium. As our next competitor makes his way out into the camp, it is competitor number 2, Proud Little Pepto and Warwick Lawrence. He was fourth here on the first night with an 87.5. He's had a 77.5. And Proud Little Pepto, the 9-year-old stallion that is out of Pepto Balsamo, and this combination at 46 years of age, and it's owned by Forrest Saunders and competing. In the saddle, Warwick Lawrence.
So score there now for Heatwave and Paul Carlin was 22 for cutout, 63 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 89 points. 89 points for Heatwave, ridden by Paul Carlin. So Warwick Lawrence about to make his selection as Pete and Dave Kelly puts the steer out to the rest room. And Warwick Lawrence and Proud Little Pepto about to go to work, the final round of the World Championship Camp Draft. Just waiting for the other steer to drift off. Got it all under control now. Proud Little Pepto and Warwick Lawrence, they go to work. They're looking for the big points here in the camp. Out of a possible score of 26, right-hand course, the first peg's on the right, and Warwick Lawrence and Proud Little Pepto, they are just scrapes around the top side of it, and around the first peg they come. They come back to the centre to try and form the... and he's going to go back the other way and head out towards the Sinclair stand, but give him a round of applause. They were trying their very, very best. That was Warwick Lawrence with Proud Little Pepto, and there'll be a cut-out score there only.
Well, as we wait for that cutout score to come through, Jim, the next in camp is the young gun with probably a bit of a target on his back this evening. He has won 3 of the 5 nights out here. He's only 28 years old. It was 2016. He actually took out the prize for the highest score here as part of the World Championship Camp Draft. He's Hugh Miles, riding Peel Vale Wishes. He's had about 8 years of campaigning with this horse. He's a quarter horse, Australian stock horse mix. And the chestnut mare that he's out on tonight. He's had a heap of major titles, including the 2015 Top 25 Open Horses, according to the ABCRA. Comes to us from Tamworth, where he runs Peel Vale Stud, established over 20 years ago, and it's had a ton of Australian stock horses competing at Sydney Royal over many, many years.
Score now for Warwick Lawrence and Proud Little Pepto of 22.5 points. 22.5 points for Proud Little Pepto and Warwick Lawrence. So number 3 in the draw, Hugh Miles and Peel Vale Witches. They get their beast on their own and they go to work right here in the face of the camp. They're about to call for the gate to step out into the magnificent Spotless Stadium. And right up the face of the camp they are, and this is Hugh Miles with Peel Vale Wishes, and around the first peg they line it up, he says, and we'll go now. And Peel Vale Wishes says, just leave the footwork to me as they glide around the first peg. The chestnut Borley mare says now, we'll just ease back a little, and they're going to tighten things right up around the second peg, right up on the beast's shoulder. Camp Drafting at his best. And Huey Miles just there, now we'll sit. Peel Vale Witches says, we'll get over here and we'll push it through. Everything's looking pretty good. She said, let's go now. And there's another magnificent run. Peel Vale Witches, ridden by Hugh Miles.
What do we call it, Jimmy? Champagne Camp Drafting. Sensational run while we wait for the score. Grant Watham and Samuel's Jewel Acres makes his way into the camp. And this is the Australian stock horse mare by Acres Destiny. 1, 2 camp drafts, and the whole family rides this lovely horse, Jewel, from Lochinvale in New South Wales, an auctioneer and grazier. It's Grant Watham and Samuel's Jewel.
So a score coming through now for Hugh Miles with Peel Vale Wishes of 23 for cutout, 64.5 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 91.5 points. 91.5 points for Peel Vale Wishes, ridden by Hugh Miles. So Grant Watham, he just gets the nod from our judges, Fred Patterson and Keith Horrigan. Samuels, Jules Akers. And Grant Watham, they just run their eye, just waiting for the steer, just to try and make another step out. He only wants to bring one up the face of the camp if he possibly can. And what a beautiful evening here for the final round of the Tyrrell's World Championship Camp Draft. He makes his selection. And Samuel's Jewel Acres with Grant Watham right up the face of the camp. Calls for the gate. They step out onto centre stage and around the first peg. And the pace is on. And the Hereford steer says, I love being out here in this beautiful surface. And he does the changeover, and Samuel's Jules Akers says, I love the surface as well. As they come around the second peg, he just sits and glides around the second. They've got 3 out of 4 for the course. Boys and girls, mums and dads, I think we might have to warm them up again. It's looking very good as Samuel's Jules Akers, and there's another one. Another one, 4-round course, and again, Tim, it's a champagne camp drafting.
Next into camp as we wait for that score is a grazier from Roma who's had some outstanding scores here so far. He scored a 90, a couple of mid-80s and even an 89.5. This is Brendan Fitzgerald, the 56-year-old, riding More Rocks. More Rocks is a 7-year-old brown stallion. It's had 2 years campaigning and has picked up some major titles in that very short time, including the Chinchilla Novice Grandfather Clock Draft of 2017. He's won a maiden and 2 novices, and he's on with a jockey called Brendan Fitzgerald, who's done all sorts of things from the Condamine Bell through the Warwick Gold Cup, the Stallion Draft, Paradise Lagoons, and they're a wonderful combination, as you can see by those scores.
Grant Watham with Samuel's Jewel Acres, 23 for cutout, 65 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 92 points. 92 points for Samuel's Jewel Acres and Grant Watham. As Brendan Fitzgerald, he calls for the gate with More Rocks, and they make their entry out into the Spotless Stadium, and they line the first peg up. Brendan Fitzgerald all the way from Roma in Queensland, and round the first peg up, right up on the boosted shoulder, camp drafting, More Rocks, and they come around the first peg. They've got 2 out of 4 for the course. Now Brendan Fitzgerald and More Rocks will just sit a little bit and play a little bit of cat and mouse as they sort of come around the second peg now. So we just let the steer run on a little bit, think that he's going to get away, and the Hereford steer cooperates around the second peg, 3 out of 4 for the course. They line things up here now for the gate. Can they make it 4? I think they can. I think they can. They certainly can. And that is Brendan Fitzgerald with More Rocks.
Hold the phone. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. This is camp drafting at its best. As we wait for the score for that amazing horse, we welcome into the yard Terry Hannigan from Canamble in northwestern New South Wales. He has had a 86.5 on the first night, 88 and equal 4th on the second night, 89 to be 4th on night number 4, and 89.5 to be 2nd, I should say, on night number 5. And he rides this horse. He's been only drafting for the last 5 years. It's Durkin's Onyx.
So score now for Brendan Fitzgerald with More Rocks was 20 for cutout, 61 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 85 points. 85 points for More Rocks and Brendan Fitzgerald. As Terry Hannigan about to make his selection. The final round of the World Championship Camp Draft. Brought to you with the compliments of Tyrrell's Wines. And it comes in the 2 great colours of red and white, just like the wonderful Pole Hereford steers of red and white. That's right, isn't it, Tim?
That is right.
And Terry Hannigan says right for the gates, and he steps out onto the right-hand course here in the Spotless Stadium is Terry Hannigan with Durkin's Onyx, and gets a nice cooperating beast too. He says, I love being out here. Around the first peg they glide. As Durkin's Onyx and Terry Hannigan says, I'll come back and I'll do the changeover now. And he does the changeover, and around the second peg they come. And nicely too, and Durkin's Onyx got it all under control. She says, leave the footwork to me, Terry. You just press the buttons when we want to go, and I could be going to see something special again. Terry Hannigan's and Durkin's Onyx, they line it up. Can they get it? Can they get it? Can they do it? It's looking good. Yes, they can. Terry Hannigan and Durkin's Onyx.
While we wait for that score, the next in camp is Troy Palmer, a name synonymous with drafting. He's been competing in drafts since he was 8 years old. And the Palmer family, have a long association with Sydney Show. Troy's father and grandfather both competed in Campdraft and rough riding events here. Well, this time he's riding Binia Impressive Destiny, a stallion who has 288 registered progeny with the Australian Stock Horse Society, certainly shaping that breed here in Australia. They've been campaigning for 13 years and had a lot of big wins under them. The Landmark Stallion Draft winner, the most recently in 2017.
So score now for Terry Hannigan and Durkin's Onyx was 21 for cutout, 60.5 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 85.5 points. 85.5 points for Durkin's Onyx, ridden by Terry Hannigan. And Troy Palmer, with Binia Impressive Destiny, his ID that he's probably better known as, about to make their selection. No strangers to the Sydney Royal Easter Show. It's Troy Palmer, an ID, they come right up the face of the camp. Calls for the gate. They step out onto centre stage. Right-hand course around the first peg, and he's got a fast one too this afternoon in the final round. But ID has got it all under control, and Troy Palmer, 2 points for the first peg. They do with a very smart changeover. And look here for a second peg. They tighten it right up around the second peg. It's 3 out of 4 for the course. Oh, they going to go straight towards the gate. Girls and boys, mums and dads, make those hands start working very quickly. It's a magnificent run. Troy Palmer with Binia Impressive Destiny.
What a run here tonight.
And what a magnificent photo that would be. The Hereford steer sitting down and says, well, I just done it. I'm just going to have a little breather and look for a Tyrrell's wine.
He's just enjoying here. Of course, a big thank you to Elliston Pastoral Company, to the Packers, to Rob Tees and the team from Elliston. We couldn't do it without great cattle, and we thank them very much. Well, next into the camp, while we wait for Troy's score, is Kira O'Brien and O'Brien's Rosette. And Kira's grandfather, Harold Willard, won the World Cup Camp Draft on 2 occasions. Her brother, Warwick Lawrence, has won the same event, and Kira's husband competed here last year. It really is a family affair. Next into the ring will be Kira O'Brien and O'Brien's Rosette.
Score now for Troy Palmer with Binia Impressive Destiny was 20.5 for cutout, 66.5 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 91 points. 91 points for Binia Impressive Destiny, ridden by Troy Palmer. So Kyra O'Brien and O'Brien's Reset. And they make their selection very cleanly, and up to the face of the camp they come, trying to get as many points as they possibly can the final round of the World Championship Camp Draft. And he looks out through the gate, and O'Brien's Reset with Kyra O'Brien around the first peg now. Then the pressure's on, the pace is on, and everything is gliding along perfectly here at the moment. Now around the first peg now, they look to get the changeover. They got 2 out of 4 for the course. They do a changeover now, and Kyra says, we'll tighten it right up around here. And look here, O'Brien's Reset gets right up on the beast's shoulder, and Kyra O'Brien's got it all under control. They get 3 out of 4 for the course. They head towards the gate. I think we're going to see something special, can we? I think we can. O'Brien's Reset and Kyra O'Brien. It is perfect.
Well, Kyra O'Brien will be over the moon with that run there. We'll wait for that score to come through while the next in camp is Adam Sadler on Tajano Spin. Now, Adam scored so consistently throughout this World Championship Camp Draft that he knows that tonight he needs to pull a big score out in order to be in contention in one of the higher place rankings at the end of this championship. Tajano Spin, the 9-year-old mare, is a quarter horse, and her mother's won a reigning futurity. They've been campaigning together for 3 years, and during this last Camp Draft Championship, they've scored a 90.5. They've had Camp Draft success for over 25 years with Adam Sadler.
Kyra O'Brien with O'Brien's Reset was 22.5 for cutout, 62.5 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 89 points. 89 points for O'Brien's Reset and Kyra O'Brien as we pick up with Adam Saddler as he comes around the first peg with Tajano Spin, and they've got a fast running Pole Hereford steer as well, and Tajano Spin says we've got it all under control. They just sit back, they do their changeover, and he's going to tighten things up around the second peg as well. Now Adam Saddler and Tajano Spin right around on the booster's shoulder. This is Champagne Camp Drafting. Now the Pole Hereford steer says we'll cooperate now, and comes around. He gets a little bit of a bump there early and comes around here now, and Tajano Spin, Adam Saddler, Tajano Spin, the Pole Hereford steer. Oh, it's a big team effort and it's looking very, very good again. 4 out of 4 there for Tajano Spin and Adam Saddler.
Oh boy, we have seen all bar one, 8 completed courses now, 9 completed courses out of 10 competitors as we welcome out the next of our riders, Sue Duggan. And Sue is just a young gun. She's riding the 18-year-old gelding by the name of Quindella Chief. And boy, have they had a great show here. They've had a 3rd, a 2nd and a 5th. And they're right amongst the placings at the moment in the overall standings. Looking for a big score tonight, Sue Duggan and Quindella Chief.
Okay, a score now for Adam Saddler with the Tajano Spin was 21.5 for cutout, 60 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 85.5 points. 85.5 points for Tajano Spin, ridden by Adam Saddler. As Sue Duggan, she makes her selection. One of our lady competitors, her first time here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show. She calls for the gate. They step out onto centre stage here in the final round. And around the first peg, they looked as though they get all the steer says, what's that standing there? And it just sort of ducks away, but Quindella Chief says, I won't let you get away quite so easy. Blocks him up there on the first peg, and he's going to come in on the top side, and Sue is going to give it away. But give her a lovely round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Sue Duggan with Quindella Chief.
Well, our next in camp is Gav White on Ashcat Destinations Diva. He's been competing here at Sydney Royal Easter Show since he was 16 years old and has won and placed in youth drafts at Sydney Royal Easter Show. He's drafted since he was only 8 years old, part of the family tradition to breed and train horses. And out here on the 7-year-old mare, they've had a wonderful time together in only 3 years where they've won and placed at several drafts.
A score now for Sue Duggan with Quindella Chief was a cutout score there of 21 points. 21 points for Quindella Chief, ridden by Sue Duggan. There's Gav White. He runs the eyes over the Pole Hereford steers. Says, will I change me mind? Will I stick with my very first selection? Just waiting for him to make the move, and there he just walks out along the back fence, and he said, that'll do me. Gav White. Ashcat Destinations Diva. They come up the face of the camp. They do the 2, 3, the 4 and the 5. Calls for the gate. They're on centre stage here in the Spotless Stadium. Gav White, Ashcat Destinations Diva, and Diva says just leave the footwork to me. They come around the first peg. And they come back around now. They do the changeover. You've got 2 out of 4 for the course, and they're going to tighten it right up around the second peg. Diva and Gav White. Ashcat Destinations Diva, Gav White, they head towards the gate. Can they make it 4 out of 4? Warm them up, boys and girls, mums and dads. Get them ready, get them ready. We need it again. Gav White with Ashcat Destinations Diva.
28.
What a run, another hot contender. As we now welcome into the arena, Ben Tapp and Cool Dust. Ben owns Cool Dust. She's a 17-year-old mare. They won the 2012 Warwick Gold Cup. Winner of the 2017 Landmark Classic Open. And this is more than 50 open draft wins in this combination. They had an 86 last night. Looking to improve on that. Ben Tapp and Cool Dust.
Gav White with Ashcat Destinations Diva scored 22 for cutout, 64.5 for horsework. 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 90.5 points. 90.5 points for Ashcat Destinations Diva and Gav White. So is Ben Tapp with Cool Dust. And he makes his selection very quickly. And Cool Dust is ready to go to work. He calls for the gate. They come out onto centre stage here in this spotless stadium. Ben Tap with Cool Dust around the first peg. And Cool Dust says we'll just sit about here and he'll get a real nice tight one. And Cool Dust says now we just come back around here, leave the footwork to me here. And he said when we're ready to go, and he's going to tighten it up around the second peg. Ben Tap, Cool Dust. Oh, there's a magnificent run coming on here. Around the second peg they come. Boys and girls, mums and dads. It's nearly a repeat performance. Can he do it? Can he do it? I'm sure Cool Dust says, of course we can. And another full round score here in the World Championship Camp Draft. Once again, many thanks to Elliston Pastoral for a magnificent line of cattle over the 6 rounds of this draft.
Well, the ultimate combination are next in camp. It's Nigel Cable and Chevron Ivory. They've won this World Championship Camp Draft not once, not twice, but 3 times in a row and 4 times overall. Chevron Ivory is a 20-year-old stallion and by Lindsay and out of Chevron Ebony. Nigel, he comes to us from a town called Rydal. And the population of well and truly less than 100, and he's been camp drafting and campaigning for 16 years.
So the score now for Cool Dust and Ben Tap was 21 for cutout, 65 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 90 points. 90 points for Cool Dust, ridden by Ben Tap. Nigel Cable and Chevron Ivory, they go to work. Calls for the gate. He's out on the stage in the spotless stadium, the final round of the World Championship Camp Draft. And looking pretty good as they float around, and Chevron Ivory comes around and says, we've got it all under control here. Nigel comes around, gets 2 points for the first peg. They do a changeover. Can they make it? Oh, and it's just been too short. Well, if it had come off, it would have been amazing. So you'll get that second shot at the second peg. And Chevron Ivory, Nigel Cable. Now they get the 3 out of 4 for the course. They'll head over to see if they can beat the clock to get that beast. Can they get down between the 2 pegs before the whistle goes? Can they do it? Can they do it? There goes the whistle. We'll leave that one in the hands of our Camp Draft judges, Fred Patterson and Keith Horrigan.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, he's a true champion of the sport. Can you please give Chevron Ivory, Nigel Cable a round of applause? He is a legend in the sport of camp drafting. It's been a pleasure watching him compete here in 2018. Well, while we wait for the score, Andrew Chapman, Chappie as he's known, comes into the camp. He's 43 years young. He's married to Trudy. He's a cattle stud manager. And Andrew Chapman has great success. He's had a 90 for second on the first night, an 88 for fourth on round 3, a third with 89.5 on round number 4.
The score now for Chevron Ivory and Nigel Cable was 21.5 for cutout, 55 for horsework, 3 out of 4 for the course, a total of 79.5 points. 79.5 points for Chevron Ivory and Nigel Cable. There's Andrew Chapman and Digby. Up the face of the camp they come. They call for the gates and out onto the spotless stadium they come. And around the first peg and Digby. Oh, and the pole efforts there. They've got a very, very tight peg. Now around the first peg, they've got 2 out of 4 for the course. And Digby says, let's go, Andrew. Around the second peg. Oh, look here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Now Trudy is starting to clap now, Trudy. Now, here we go. Now round towards the gate. Get it ready, Trudy. A rehearsal. Digby, Andrew Chapman. That is a magnificent run, Digby. And with Chappie.
Oh, absolutely. That'll be one happy wife in the stands. And next in camp is the youngest competitor of them all. 20-year-old April Langridge came out here as a first-time competitor in the World Championship Camp Draft. And on night 2, she blew them all away with a score of 90.5 and won that round. She's riding Jecker's Request, 17-year-old mare who's a heritage stock horse. It's been campaigning for 12 years. Well, April, she's been riding for 14 years now and started competing when she was only 8 years old. And in that short time, she's taken out 4 national titles.
Score now for Andrew Chapman with Digby was 21 for cutout, 65.5 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 90.5 points. 90.5 points for Digby, ridden by Andrew Chapman. So April Langridge and Jecker's Request, they're about to make their selection. Just waiting for the steer just to look the right way. She says, now we've got him. Jecker's Request, April Langridge. They come up the face of the camp. They do the 1, 2, and 3, 4, and she makes it look so easy, the pony. And April Langridge calls for the gate. They're on centre stage. Around the first peg. Can she line it up around there now? And Jecker's Request, April Langridge. He says, I want to drift away. I want to go to the Sinclair stand, but look at Jecker's Request right around on the beast's shoulder there. Now, can she turn him in around on the top side? But he's going to get away. But give her a lovely round of applause there, boys and girls, mums and dads. Jecker's Request, April Language. They were trying their very best, but sometimes it can happen in sports, just don't work out.
Well, what I love about that, when she called for the gate, she said, gate please, and I just love that from young April. Well, our final competitor makes his way into the yard now. This is Tony Mortimer, riding the very distinctive Ghost of Abbey. Had an 86 points on round number 3 to finish in 5th place. Now, he needs a score higher than 90.5 to be in our top 5 here this evening. It is a very hotly contested final round for the truck driver and plant operator. We welcome out into the arena the Australian stock horse, Ghost of Abbey, and Tony Mortimer.
21.5 points there for Jecker's Request and April Langridge. 21.5 points. So Tony Mortimer just trying to get this other steer just to walk away. So we'll just turn them back down here and now let them settle. He gets the nod from our Campdraft judges, and we thank our 2 Campdraft judges, Fred Patterson and Keith Horrigan, over the 6 rounds. And Tony Mortimer with Ghost of Abbey. They come up the face of the camp. He calls for the gates. The gates swing open. And he's got one that looks out here and he says, where are we here in this beauty? And he's got a very, very fast one. He goes across towards the Cumberland stand. We'll give him a round of applause. There's our final competitor in the final round, Tony Mortimer with Ghost of Abbey, and we'll bring you a cutout score very, very shortly. We have a cutout score there for Ghost of Abbey and Tony Mortimer of 20.5 points. 20.5 points for Tony Mortimer and Ghost of Abbey.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, we have a large number of presentations now to take place. But I'd ask you to join me just once here tonight. Please put your hands together for the team from Elliston Pastoral Company, because without drafting, without cattle, we don't have drafting. And for 6 nights, we have seen a phenomenal number of... rounds completed here each and every night. So a big thank you to Elliston Pastoral Company, and also a massive thank you to Tyrrell's Wines. Of course, this camp draft has been run each and every year with the support of Tyrrell's Wines. And thanks very much. We have Mr. David Gatwood here tonight as well from the Australian Stock Horse Society. And also we have many other dignitaries as well, and we thank them very much. Well, we've got Jim down in the arena, and Jim, you're with a man from Elliston Pastoral Company who is very dear to us all here.
There's no doubt about that, Tim. I've got Mr. Rob Teague, the General Manager of Elliston Pastoral, and his 2IC also with him, Scott Mitchell. But welcome to the final round, Rob, for the World Championship Camp Draft.
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. Look, and what a spectacle it was, eh? Like, we got 12 out of 16 tonight. We had 14 out of 16 2 nights ago. But our aim at Elliston, we're going to get 16 out of 16 one year.
Rob, it's a great relationship that the RAS have with Elliston Pastoral Company and you and the team. It's just so great to see Champagne Camp Drafting as we've witnessed here in 2018. That relationship, but let's hope it can keep on continuing.
Look, definitely from our behalf, we'll continue with the cattle here. But, you know, there's other facets. We've got our polo boys playing polo here, and then we've got Murray out here with his dogs, which I think is pretty special. And I watched him at the sheep today. He can even chase a sheep all right.
Murray's also been a great hit, you know, with the dogs, working the cattle and so forth. But it's just a great team effort. Great to have you on board. And from the RAS, we just cannot thank Elliston so much, and many thanks to the Packer family.
No, thank you for inviting us to come down for all these years. On behalf of the Packer family, I'd really like to sincerely say thank you because they're right behind it. I know they're not here tonight. They'd love to be, but they're away at other commitments. But look, we're behind it for moving forward. Yeah, thank you.
Let's hope we see you again in 2019, Rob and Scott.
We'll be here.
Thank you very much.
Well, we have the official results now, and congratulations to the winner of tonight's win. It goes to Grant Watham on 92 points in first place. Second place going to Hugh Miles on 91.5 points. Third place going to Troy Palmer on 91 points, and equal fourth place on 90.5. Please put your hands together for Gavin White and Andrew Chapman, and Jim Callanan is down there with tonight's winner of round number 6.
Yeah, well, thank you, Tim. And doing the presentation is one of our past presidents of the RAS, Mr. Rob Vickery, along with Councillor Duncan McIntyre and Councillor James Angus. But here with now Grant Watham. Congratulations, Grant. Might have took the last round to get that blue ribbon round, but been a great competition, Grant, and you're no stranger to the Sputler Stadium.
Yeah, no, it's been a terrific competition, Jimmy, and it's a credit to all these blokes the way they performed, and ladies. And thank you to all the sponsors, especially Tyrrell's. We always like one of their wines of a night. We probably won't get one tonight. We've got to go home, but we have had a few in the past, and they're pretty good.
Grant, it's been a great series. Like one night, we just mentioned there earlier, 14 out of 16. I think there's been 9 or 10 out of tonight. It's been just so good to watch.
Yeah, this has probably been one of the better competitions as far as cattle. Like they've run terrific every night. It's been it's a credit to the cattle donors, and we thank them very much.
Grant, congratulations to you and Michelle, because I know she's pretty pleased up in the stand, and look forward to seeing you again 2019.
Hopefully. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Grant.
Thank you very much, Jim. 12 completed rounds here tonight, and we look forward to 2019. What an amazing competition. The World Series Campdraft is here each and every year.
We'll be making the presentation this evening of the Bective Station annual trophies awarded to the winner of the World Championship Campdraft, and that is also the winner of the Duke of Gloucester Perpetual Cup, the winner of the highest score of any session conducted throughout the World Championship Campdraft. We'll also take the TB McFarlane Perpetual Trophy and the trophy for the highest aggregate cutout score, and they'll be the recipient of the Tyrrell's Vineyard Perpetual Trophy. And these trophies are all donated under the Bective Station Annual Trophies section by the Vickery family, and Rob Vickery, I know, is here with us this evening. He's the General Manager of Bective Station, and he served as the Royal Agricultural Society President here from July 2004 through to May 2008. He served on council since 1991, and he was the chairman of Wingham Abattoirs. So you will see quite a number of very prestigious trophies here this evening.
Tell us who they are, Jim, quickly.
And we'll be bringing those to you in just a moment.
Copy that.
Well, our first presentation this evening will be the Duke of Gloucester, His Royal Highness Perpetual Cup. It's a twin-handled loving cup from London in 1935. And the maker was S. Garland & Co. of the Royal Silversmiths. It was donated by His Royal Highness the Duke of Gloucester. He was the Governor-General between 1945 and 1947. It was first presented in 1947. It's in recognition of the particularly fine type of man encountered on station properties, and as a gesture of appreciation of their excellent work, His Royal Highness the Duke of Gloucester, then the Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia, first presented the cup for camp drafting competitions that were conducted in each state. And we'll have those results to you in just a moment.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, we are starting in 5th place in the overall for the World Series Camp Draft. In equal 5th place, please put your hands together for Sue Duggan and Terry Hannigan. In 4th place, congratulations to Brendan Fitzgerald. In equal second place, congratulations to Andrew Chapman and Adam Sadler. And ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, please join in congratulating the winner of His Royal Highness the Duke of Gloucester Cup Perpetual Trophy. It goes to the one and only Hugh Miles.
Mr. Robert Teague making the presentation of His Royal Highness the Duke of Gloucester Perpetual Cup, awarded to the winner of the World Championship Campdraft competition. And originally was awarded to the winner of the camp drafting competition, restricted back in the day to owners of farm and station properties and or their stockmen. That was the history of this gorgeous trophy.
Amazing to think that we have results right back to 1947. Well, if we look back just while we line them up and make the presentation down here, in 2015, 16 and 17, it was Nigel Cable and Chevron Ivory. He was close this year, but unfortunately not quite close enough. 2014, it went to Mark and John Palmer with El Condo. Troy Palmer with Impressive Destiny in 2013. Mark Palmer with Special in 2012. And in 2011, it went to Graham Watham with Yolana Destin. But 2018, we had a new name in Hugh Miles and Pillvale Wishes.
Hugh Miles of Pillvale Startup at Tamworth. The young bloke out there, only 28 years old, who will be over the moon with this result today.
And Jim's down there with the winner, Hugh Miles.
Well, thank you, Tim. I'm here with our champion for 2018, Hugh Miles. Hugh Miles, you'll need a box trailer to take the ribbons and the trophies home for 2018. Must be a very, very special moment, Hugh.
Yeah, mate, it's one of those things that's been on the list for a long time to come and try and win, and I've been looking up to a lot of these guys beside me since I was a kid, sitting in the stand watching them, and to be out here amongst them now it's a dream come true, and it's been a great competition, and it's something I'll never forget.
You're very lucky when it all comes to the good competitors, good horses, and a little bit of luck. It pays a little bit of a roll along the way.
Yeah, mate. There's lots of little things that either they, if they go on your way, they, at the time, then you get lucky. But sometimes they don't come off, and nothing's changed. So it's sometimes you get lucky and sometimes you don't. You just got to take risks at times and see what happens.
I hear a few of the competitors talking after each round just how good the cattle have been. That's a big thing to play in the camp drafting sport, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. It's phenomenal, and all credit goes to Elliston and the preparation they put in the cattle to get them here. They haven't just put them together in the last 5 minutes. They've spent months getting them ready for this, and they've done a lot to make it a good competition, and that's what makes a good competition. It's good cattle, and it makes it a good even competition for everybody. So no, it's all credit goes to them. That's they're really what's made it.
Well, congratulations, Huey, and hope to see you back here in 2019.
Yeah, mate, for sure. I'll be here.
Okay, thank you, Huey Miles.
Okay, Jim,
Well, we have two major trophies to be awarded yet this evening. The Tyrrell's Vineyard Perpetual Trophy, donated in 1986 by the Prudential Pastoral Company and later named the Tyrrell's Vineyards Perpetual Trophy. It'll be awarded for the highest aggregate cut-out score throughout the World Championship Camp Draft competition. And also we'll be awarding tonight the T.P. McFarlane Perpetual Trophy. This is donated by the late Mr. T.P. McFarlane and first presented back in 1969. It's awarded for the highest score in any session conducted throughout the entire World Championship Camp Draft this year. And previous winners have included Nigel Cable, and we've seen the Palmers out here before, Grant Watham. But tonight...
Fanfare. Ladies and gentlemen, on a score of 92 tonight, please put your hands together for Grant Watham and that amazing Samuel's Jewel Acres.
Well, Grant Watham actually won this as well in 2003 on Yolana Regret. And it's also been, as I mentioned before, picked up by a number of our competitors here this evening. Warwick Lawrence has won it before, Troy Palmer, Nigel Cable.
And of course, this trophy is the TB McFarlane Petrol Trophy. Thomas Braden McFarlane was an RAS councillor from 1934 to 1948, the RAS Vice President and the RAS Honorary Vice President right through until 1970.
Well, our final trophy is the Tyrrell's Vineyard Perpetual Trophy, a cold cast bronze stockman and steer. It's really beautiful if we can get some footage of it in a moment. It's by Neri Pinsett. It's absolutely gorgeous. Was first donated back in 1986. And the original winner, Tom Williamson. Terry Hall's won it before. Bob Palmer's won it. Matt Holtz has won it most recently. Nigel Cable's taken it out 3 times. And tonight's winner will be...
And it is? Yep, we've got that. And who's the winner? Ladies and gentlemen, the winner goes to Andrew Chapman and Digby.
Well, thank you, Tim. Here with the overall winner of the highest aggregate cutout, Andrew Chapman. Well, Chappie, you and Digby, you've another lot of ribbons to go home with from the Royal Easter Show. So close, but it's been a great competition, Chappie.
Yeah, it's been unbelievable, Jim. The cattle this year have been great, thanks to Ellison Pastoral Company. I've been here for a few years now, and I think it's just the best lot of cattle and best rounds we've ever seen here.
Andrew, do we think we can get you and Digby to come back in 2019?
I think so.
I think by the look of that in Digby's eyes, he wants to come back. He likes being here in the Spotless Stadium. But thanks very much for the competition and the entertainment, and congratulations, Chappie.
Thanks, Jim, and thanks to Tyrrell's and all the sponsors of the RAS.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes our official presentation. We will grab one more photo here. But Lindsay Douglas, your first year with the Campdraft. Sorry, we do have one more prize to go. I did jump the gun there. Of course, Lindsay, we have the highest placed stock horse exhibit at the 2018 Sydney Royal Easter Show. And the winner of the highest placed Australian stock horse, please congratulate Hugh Miles. And we have Mr. David Gatwood here from the Australian Stock Horse Society. Of course, they have over 9,500 financial members. They are a very active organisation, and we do thank Mr. David Gatwood for coming down on behalf of the Australian Stock Horse Society. Are we right?
You can see a gorgeous saddle being presented there for the highest prized placed Australian stock horse in the Campdraft competition.
Well, Lindsay, it's been an amazing event. Of course, you and I couldn't have done what we have done without the sensational Jim Callanan. Jim, mate, unbelievable effort. Congratulations to you and the competitors. Camp drafting has been world class.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Tim, and many thanks to you and Lindsay up there for all your support and help over the 6 days of the Royal Easter Show. Many thanks to all the competitors, thanks to our judges, our cattle donors and so forth, and many thanks to the RAS. And we've seen Champagne camp drafting here with the Australian Stock Horse been on great display. So many, many thanks to all, and we'll cross back up to Tim and Lindsay.
Thank you very much, Jim. And at this point in time, we do like to just say to our dear friend Kate Day, who loves the camp drafting, she was here last year with us. Hey, Kate, get well soon. We can't wait to have you back here in the box calling the sport that you love so, so much. Well, they're going to make their way out onto the arena. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, please join me in congratulating our overall winner of the World Series Camp Draft. Please congratulate the one and only Hugh Miles and Pillvale Wishes. A phenomenal effort here tonight. And as they come past, don't be shy, Sydney. Clap your hands. That has been an extreme camp drafting for 6 nights here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show. And we must thank at this point in time once again to Tyrrell's Wine, Elliston Pastoral Company, RM Williams and all of the other amazing people who are behind the World Series Camp Draft.